Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte, I come from Norway and I love makeup. And today I'm doing something that is long due, and I'm going to show you how I do my face makeup, or my base basically. So I wanted to do this for a long time, ever since I did a face routine swap or makeup routine swap with Fiaraka from Instagram. It's her name is Julie, and it was really hard to do each other's makeup routines because none of us had our face routines. So I think today that's what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a long video, I think, just because I'm going to go through it quite properly. I have not done this because I don't feel like I'm an expert at skin makeup whatsoever. I really am not in any kind of makeup, but today I'm just going to show you what works for me, and something else might work better for you. So now I just cleansed my face and I use the Erborian, what is it called? The black cleansing oil. So my skin is feeling really dry. I usually have oily skin and I get quite oily, but my makeup still holds on really good. So what I'm going to do after I cleanse my face and of course wipe off all of the wetness, and I can zoom you in. I then use my Matrixyl 10% plus HA. Sorry about my nails, I'm going to do them next week. But I use the Matrixyl and HA. As you can see, I've used quite a lot. This is my second bottle, and this is like supposed to, I think, brighten and prevent wrinkles, I think. So I just use quite a bit. I don't know if you can see if I put it like this. I just add this much, and then I just rub it all over my face. I don't go too close to the eyes. I didn't really find any information on if these are like safe for the eye area, but I just try to like take it where you might get some wrinkles. And I feel like it's actually been really good because I get a wrinkle right here, and I feel like this has been helping me to tighten my skin a little bit. So I first use that one, and then I go ahead and use the Ordinary Niacinamide and Zinc, which this is my second bottle as well, but this is the big one. I've used a small one before. So I used the same amount basically, so this much. Before I used to only use like a few drops, but I was like not sure if that was actually enough. So I just ended up using more just to make sure I get it all around my face. And these dry quite fast, but they're also quite like, what do you call it? Like wet, sort of. And you feel kind of sticky. I don't know if you can see it. Your skin does get sticky. So I feel like it's perfect to do this before you do your face makeup. And then I use, this one I actually got from eBay. It's a Hyaluron ampoule. I will see if I can find a link for it. And this one is just something I use. It's quite simple in the ingredients. I take about this much. You can see it's running down. And then I just make sure I put it all over my face. And I kind of like tap it a bit around as well. And this is like not the perfect day to do a video like this, because I literally slept less than 5 hours, so I'm super tired. But yeah. And now I'm just going to zoom you in because I've heard that people are saying that I'm editing my photos, but I don't. So I just want to like show you all my imperfections right now. You can see I have quite large pores. The niacinamide and zinc helps with that. And then I also get like some bumps sometimes that are a little bit itchy. Like you can see that they get bigger if I itch on them. And I think it's because I'm allergic to nickel and I wear glasses, and I often get it here. But I also have been struggling previously with a lot of like eczema around my mouth and my nose actually. So if you go back to my videos, I think last year, in the end of last year or something, you're going to see that I have quite a lot of texture around here. But I started using some pills that I got from my doctor, and it literally went away in 2-3 days. So I can, if you are also struggling with something like that, then if you can just ask me about it and I will tell you what kind of pills it is. I don't really remember. It's something about like Cycline or I don't know. But yeah, as you can see, I do have some small bumps here and there, but my skin is mostly quite nice. Like, I don't have too many blemishes. This is also one of those bumps that is like itching a little bit. But what I do to like even out my skin and like fill in my pores, I use the Ordinary, and I'm sorry this looks disgusting. It's been well loved. My high adherence silicone primer, and I add not too much, like a pea-size amount, and I just make sure to get it like everywhere where I need to fill in my pores. So mostly I focus it around my T-zone right here. Not too much in my forehead because I usually don't really use foundation there. I just use like the leftovers on my sponge of my foundation. So I'm just pressing it in to make sure it like fills in my pores. And I feel like this primer actually does a difference for me. I don't really have any before and afters, but it works for me. And now that I have done that, I have my sponge right here. This used to be fuzzy all over, but it's lost a little bit of the fuzziness, as you can see. I do wash it every day, but I'm not able to like get away everything, so I do change them every now and then. So the fuzzy side for me allows me to blend my makeup without the sponge taking in too much of the foundation, so I really like this sponge. I got it like super cheap on Wish, so I don't know if I can find it again because they always like sell out and then they never come back. But I'm just going to apply my foundation now because I already put on my primer, as you could see, and I'm going to zoom you out a little bit so you can see better. And since I'm doing this like full disclosure, I do have 2 ring lights, one on each side, and my window in front of me, so I have great lighting going in. If I did not have that, you would see all the textures and definitely see the blue underneath my eyes a lot better. So that's like the key when you're doing your makeup photography. You want good lighting. So for my foundation, I usually put 2 pumps. I just do it like this. And now I'm gonna need a mirror. So for my foundation, I just start blending it out. And oh, maybe I should tell you what kind of foundation I'm using. I'm using the Lumene Natural Glow Foundation. And it's one of the foundations that I've found works great for me because it's like a brand made for Nordic skin. So they're like the colors they have is like not inclusive at all. And I've been like on the fence if I should continue using them because of that. But then again, I'm also like in a group where I struggle to find matching shades to my pale skin tone because, as you can see, I'm really fair. And this one works for me. And this is the lightest shade. This is ultra light. And as you can see, I just blend it out and I kind of press it in. I never swipe or anything. I just press it in. And I try to avoid doing anything in my eye area just because, like Robert Welch says, if you want to know more about like skin makeup and concealer, definitely check him out because he does a lot about that and about not layering too many or like make a too thick layer, I guess, of makeup, because that's just going to make your creases crease more, basically. So now, as you can see, I don't have much left on my sponge, and that's when I go in on my forehead and I get like just this super light coverage in my forehead. And I like that because I don't really struggle with any discoloration. Oh, you can really see how pale I am with this lighting. But I don't really get that much discoloration in my forehead. Right now I have these bumps right here, but I don't really care too much about that and covering them up. I mean, I guess just for the sake of this video, I can try to cover it up. And I, of course, always try to blend down my foundation. And this foundation I really like because it's super light coverage. As you can still see all my freckles and you can still kind of see my impurities. But it still gives me that even skin tone, I feel like, and super glowy. And it still works for me, even though I said I have oily skin and I get really oily. I just blot my face a little bit, usually if I care. But when I'm at work now, I don't really take time to do that. And now I'm just going to go in with my concealer, and I just love this one lately. It's the Makeup Revolution Infinite Longwear Concealer, and I have it in C07. Yeah. And I just usually take a very small amount because, as I said, I've been watching Robert Welch and I just love how he does it. So I take about this amount. That might be a little too much. And since I have these ones, usually I don't really see the point in covering them up because I blend out the concealer anyway, and I usually just still see my spots. But the thing is that with my concealer, I don't really use a sponge. I just use my fingers. So I'm just going to take my ring finger. I've heard that that is like the best finger to use for your skin makeup because it's really light and not that pushy or hard, or I don't really know what to call it. But then I just start blending out my concealer, and this one is kind of thick, so that's why I use a small amount, and I just blend it a little bit further like this. And usually I would do my eye makeup first just to make sure I don't get any fallout and stuff like that. But I thought, okay, so here you see like I have a this is like real life. You get some mascara from yesterday and you smudge it out all over your face. So I'm just going to take my sponge to like cover that up with whatever is left on my sponge. And then just continue. And I just usually put down like a small layer, like a thin layer first. And then I go in with a small dot afterwards just to cover up the worst areas. Because as you could see, I have a lot of blue and red and I guess purple, like a lot of color underneath my eyes. And I need a quite full coverage concealer to cover that up. And I often drag it a little bit down towards my nostrils here as well, because as you could see earlier, I do have quite a lot of redness there as well. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with that last little dot of product underneath my eyes, because as you can see, you can still see the blue, but it's quite a lot better than it was. So I just take a very small amount. And then before I start blending that, I have my setting powder ready. And after Robert Welch's recommendation, I bought this off of YesStyle. It's the Microwear Loose Powder from the Faceshop, I think it's called. Yeah, the Faceshop. And I just have the translucent one, so I just open it up. It has like this pad that I don't use. And then I just pour like usually around this much, and I powder my whole face with it. So I just make sure I have my brush ready to apply it, because I have creasing underneath my eyes. I don't know if you can already see that, but I usually just blend out. And this one dries down quite fast, so you don't want to wait too long, because then it's going to give you like you can see where you put the last dot if you wait too long with this one. So I make sure I pat out all of the creasing. Then I dip into the powder, and as you can see I have quite a bit. And then I stretch my face, and it looks ridiculous, I know. But I have to do that to get into the crease. So I'm just like really patting it down. I'm not rubbing or anything, just making sure everything is nice and set. And I don't bake or anything like that. And you can just see how smooth it looks with this powder, so I really enjoy that. But you can still see that I have color underneath my eye. But with the right lighting, like this, it's perfect. It looks really nice. But you can see immediately when I turn my face, it's still blue. It looks like skin. Now I just make sure I powder up, especially in my T-zone, quite nicely. Sorry. Just because I get quite oily, especially like in this whole area in the middle. So I just make sure I press that nicely in there. And then I usually take a bigger brush, whatever kind of face brush I have, and then I just set my whole face. And as you can see, I also just push this in. And especially up here, I use quite a lot, even though I don't really use a lot of foundation. But it's mostly just because if I have like some oils or anything in my forehead when I apply my bronzer, it's going to look really patchy. I'm just going to need a little bit more powder to be able to cover my whole face. And you can like see how shiny my cheek is, and then I just set it. And I'm learning like every day about how to do my skin better. It's something I've been wanting to learn to do better for quite some time now. So now my whole face is set, and before like my oils are starting to seep through my foundation, that sounds disgusting, but that's how it is. I just start using my Jouer Sunswept bronzer. It's in the shades Sunlight and Suntan. And I just start using the lightest shade first, and I'm using a brush like this. And then I just start doing my contour. If I have a lot of blemishes or redness, I will also go in with a, wait, I'll find it. So as I said, I will then go in with a powder foundation. This is from a Norwegian brand, and I've gone through several of these. So this one is the lightest shade in Marshmallow, and it just has a really nice coverage, and it just evens out the skin so nicely. But now during summer, I don't really feel like I need it because I want my freckles to show through, and that one has quite a nice addition of coverage, even though it's relatively light. And if I use that, I just spray my face quite thoroughly with either like a fixing spray or my Mario Badescu spray right here, just because using that makes me quite powdery, and I want my makeup to like look a little bit more natural nowadays. And I just take a little bit of that bronzer, as you can see, and I just go down my nose. I also go right here. This is like a kind of soft contour of the nose, and make sure to like blend it down just to mimic a natural shadow, because I just don't like how like the normal contour looks on me. So I feel like it's important for everyone that if you want to contour your nose, you have to do it after how your nose looks like and not like what everyone else is doing, because that might look a little bit funny. Like the problem with this one right now is that I'm going to like go over it and rub on it, so probably I'm not going to have much coverage on it, but that's just how it is when you have bumps on our skin. And as you can see, I like to blend it a little bit further up, just because my concealer and my face makeup, it's quite flat. I'm quite pale, so I like to like give myself some color. So I also go like a little bit like around here where you would naturally get a tan. Usually I do that mostly with the other shade, the bronzer, but I like to just make sure I have like a little bit everywhere. And then I also go around my face right here, and I of course try to go like into the hairline to not like have a white line going in my hairline, just because I'm so pale. And of course it's important to like connect your contour right here with that contour around your face. And it's like I use this one, but I don't know, like usually I guess I would use my bronzer, but I feel like this contour is a little bit like orangey, so I feel like it works as a bronzer around the forehead as well. Now I applied quite a lot here, but we're going to go in with some blush and stuff as well. So, and like I know that my application of this, it looks a little bit patchy, it always does, and as I said, I have a lot to learn about face makeup that I haven't learned already, so it's a learning process. This is just how I do it right now. So here we have the contour, and then I'm just going to use a brush that is like this. And I'm just taking a little bit, like I swiped 2 times now, into the bronzer, and then I usually go like this, just to add some color to the face. And of course, always make sure you go all the way into the ear over here, so you don't have like a splotchy application. So now it looks like this, and I'm ready for my blush. So I have this one right here, and I think I'm going to go in with Heart Throb by Makeup Geek, and it's quite pigmented, so I try to be a little bit careful when applying it. But I just use this huge brush. I've just changed up how I apply my blush, because I used to use like this tiny brush, and then I try to like apply it very lightly because it's so pigmented. So I just like go like this, and I go like a little bit on top here because I have a quite rounded face now, and then I like start to blend a little bit, and I always apply a little bit more after the first application, just because I like the look of a blushy face. And using this brush, I feel like also like helps me blend in all of the products that I've used, all the powder products. And often if I see that I have like too much of a sharp line here, I'll go in with the bronzer brush, but also I can go in with some more of that setting powder that I used just to like diffuse it a little bit more. Also if I drag it too far into the middle of my face. So I might just do a little bit like this. And then all that's missing is my highlight. So I just got my Kristen Leigh Cosmetics order, and I ordered like all of their colored highlighters plus one that's called, I think, Mermaid Fantasies. But I think I want to use the shade, what was it called again? Okay, so it's called Electric, and that's like the blue one right here. And I just use this brush by Kaleidos Makeup. It's their highlighting brush. I don't know if you can see, but this is as much as I have right now. And then I just like to apply that right here. And I just slightly blend it out to the edges, just because that gives me a more natural glow. And if I want more, I just go in with more. And as you can see, I'm kind of like rubbing it into the skin. And then I just take whatever is left and I just go down the bridge of my nose and a little bit here. And as you can see, this one, it's the first time I use actually like this exact highlight, but it looks really stunning. Wow. And I always try not to go too far towards here because I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you like a really close up of how my skin looks like now. So what I usually don't like is when I get like this clear line between my highlight and my under eye. But like this dryness that you can see here usually goes away when I spray my face. But what I was trying to say is that I have quite a lot of pores, so you can still see my pores. And this is how like my spot is looking. A little bit more highlight on the bridge of my nose. So typically I would not spray my face before I'm done with my eye makeup, because usually I would do my eye makeup first and then my skin makeup, but I'm just going to spray my face with the Mario Badescu now, just to make everything like sink into the skin more. So I'm just going to show you like super close up right now so you can see it's a little bit drying in my under eyes. I have a little bit of creasing here, but that's going to go away when I use my eyeshadow because I always smoke out here. But this is how it's looking now, and then I spray. And I often like just soak my face. So you can see my whole face is looking really wet now. And I just feel like my makeup just melts into the skin when I do this. And you can already see that it looks better here. So I'm just going to let this dry. Okay, so now my setting spray has, or my fixing spray I guess I could call it, has mostly dried down, and this is how my skin is looking like. So I'm just going to give you like a tour of my face. I'm just trying to make sure that the exposure isn't like going crazy because I'm moving back and forth, so you can see how dark I look now. And here you can see my under eyes, but when I go closer to the light, it looks quite good. So as you can see, I don't have a lot of product in my forehead. I did go a little bit crazy with my contour today, so it's quite dark there. You can still see the texture of my skin, but the primer does help quite a bit. And you can also see like my under eye bags. And yeah, I guess that's it for the close-up. I just really like, I love this foundation just because it gives me this natural look. And it's silicone based, which works really nicely for my skin, I feel like. Because as you can see, my nose doesn't look really weird or patchy or anything. And it still keeps up quite nicely in the evening. Okay, so that is my full face of makeup, except for my eyes because I haven't done them yet and I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but that's gonna be a separate video. If you want to see also how I do my brows, I change that up like all the time now as well, but right now I just use a brow gel and then I fill in a little bit with like a brow tint where you can make your, like make hair strokes. But yeah, this is my full face of makeup. This is how I do my makeup on the regular. I usually just use this foundation now, but I have also used my Colourpop tinted moisturizer and also the tinted moisturizer from Lumene. So I really enjoy those for my kind of skin, but I feel like everyone just has to like figure out what kind of foundations work for their skin and what kind of ingredients they should avoid and that kind of stuff. So for me at least, silicone based foundations are great. Also the primer works so good for me. And yeah, that was it for this video, I guess. I will try to leave everything I used down below in the description box. If I forget something and you're wondering about something, just leave me a comment down in the comment section and I will try my best to answer your questions. And yeah, hopefully this might have been helpful in some kind of way, even though I have no idea what I'm doing with my skin makeup. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you want to see more content. Not really like this because I don't do that much about skin makeup as I said, but I do a lot with single shadows, custom palettes and tutorials for eye makeup and that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!